Hey guys, so this is not how I wanted to do the next podcast episode, but unfortunately, my computer has been having some issues. I've been trying to play Silent Breath. It's a game that I've been wanting to play for like ever, but for some odd reason, it's giving me a lot of issues. So, Silent Breath is on hold until we figure out what's going on with the PC. That's on hold as well. But for now, I can at least do the next podcast episode like this. But hi, guys. Welcome back. Don't forget to hit the like button and let's go ahead and talk. I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about um, scary stories to tell in the dark, and I know I've mentioned that in a podcast episodes in the past, but this whole episode is dedicated to the scary stories to tell in the dark. Now, if you guys are not aware, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is one of my favorite book series. It's a book that I own. Let me go grab that real quick. So here it is. I have the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark treasury. I promise I can speak. And it has all three books in one book. So this is actually one of my favorite book series. As you can tell, it's very old. Look at the seams. Look at it. It's a book that me and my oldest nephew bought together. Um, and it was only like $10 back in the day. So that tells you how cheap things were. But as you can tell, we had it for years. It's something that we've read over and over and over again. And it's about Alvin Schwartz. Alvin Schwartz is the author. And so when when they announced that they were going to be doing a movie, I was super duper excited about that. I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're about to do this movie." I was over the moon. And we'll talk about the movie in a minute. So some of my favorite stories of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series, or the book trilogy, is The Big Toe. Harold is my all-time favorite story. Harold, the imagery. Let me show you the imagery of it alone. Guys, look at that. Look at the imagery. Harold, my all-time favorite story. Like, the story alone creeped me the F out, okay? Like, the story alone, oh my gosh. And then, of course, The Dead Hand. Of course, my favorite poem out of the trilogy is The Man Who Lived in Leeds. And I know that whole poem by heart. You know, I will recite it for you now because I love it. So, there's a man who, well, obviously there's no so in it, but there's a man who lived in Leeds. He filled his garden full of seeds, and when the seeds began to grow, it was like a garden full of snow. And when the snow began to melt, it was like a ship without its belt. And when the ship began to sail, it was like a bird without its tail. And when the bird began to fly, it was like an eagle in the sky. And when the sky began to roar, it was like a lion at my door. And when the door began to crack, it was like a penknife in my back. And when my back began to bleed, I was dead. Dead indeed. Ah. I'm not gonna scream. But yes, so my all time favorite poem. I told myself, like, I recited it because in my senior year we had to recite a poem, and that was the poem I decided to recite. Absolutely love this book. This book is my everything. And I just named a few of the stories that I absolutely love. Of course, I love The Dead Hand. And then, of course, the imagery of that tree. Oh my gosh. Like, I can just go on and talk about this book alone because this book has grown up with not only me, but my third oldest sister, my nephews. Like, it's a story that's been in our family for a while now. And everyone truly do enjoy this story. It's something that's just been with our family. Who doesn't like a really good ghost story? Stories that you tell with your friends and sleepovers, if anyone still does this to this day and age, but I know when I was young, we did. That was something that we really did do, and we tell ghost stories. And was this book was there. So as you guys know and tell, I absolutely adore this book. So when the movie came out, guys, I was excited, as you already know. I said that. But what bothered me was when I seen it. I did not like the way they did Harold. I did not like the way they set it up. Obviously, most of them, like the Jangling Man and the Haunted House, the Pale Lady, they did absolutely amazing with the Pale Lady. She looks amazing. Like, obviously, you can't get a big blob lady wrong, right? And of course, the Jangling Man, perfect. Mitai Doti Walker. You know, it's an absolutely, you can't get those wrong, right? It's amazing. The special effects, the all of it, the effects, like the CGI, all of it is amazing. I just didn't like the choices they made with how they were going to tell these stories and then make it into a movie form. And I didn't like how they decided to actually portray Harold and change his story. And if you guys know, Harold, the story of Harold was initially about the farmer. The neighbor farmer didn't like his neighbor initially, so they made a scarecrow looking like his neighbor and named him the same name as his neighbor. So they would abuse this scarecrow. They would mistreat and talk horribly to this scarecrow, right? And of course, over time, due to their hatred, due to their disgusting ways, it caused this, we can assume that it caused this scarecrow to come and be of what it be. A being, a creature, a thing of hatred and malice and violence, right? At least that's the way I took it. That due to their hatred, due to their disgusting ways, this thing came to be. So initially, when the boys left to take their cattle to where they need to go, one boy had to go back to take care of some. He left a pail or a bucket or a stool back. This is going off memory, of course, so I might have missed some points. Let me know in the comments if I did, but this is going off my noggin, okay? So he forgot something back at the house. Initially, he goes back, and then of course his friend gets worried because he's like, okay, where did, like, I believe they were brothers. They believe they were brothers. So of course he goes back. He's like, okay, what's going on? So he goes back to look for his brother. He sees Harold laying out his brother's skin to dry in the sun. So he was so aggressive. So due to what these brothers did to Harold, the effects of their malice caused this thing to be, to exist, to get revenge and such. So when I seen Harold in the movie, I was extremely disappointed. I don't understand their choices. I don't understand why they did it that way. I don't know if Alvin was part of it, and if Alvin was, why did he decided to go that route? Or did he have a say? Because I was completely confused. I didn't like the whole Scooby-Doo teen thing. Of course, yes, I know there's stories I left out, but I'm going for the ones that were really kind of like, to me, awful-landish. Like, even the whole story about the old lady who had a book of ghost stories and they came to life. Like, why do we even add her in it? Like, they could have easily took each individual story and made it his own movie. Like, they could have put Harold back in those olden days, and maybe the Scarecrow was almost similar to a Jeepers Creepers situation, not completely copying, but similar to a Jeepers Creepers situation where Harold was the antagonist. He is a force to deal with, and he's either taking revenge out on the family line, or every time someone gets Harold, they mistreat him. They could have did it any kind of way like that, but doing this Scooby-Doo where are you team of kids, let's team up and figure out what's going on. Come on now, guys, that's getting a little played out. I don't know if you guys agree with that or don't, but I think it's just getting played out. Like I said, I love Stranger Things and I love Scooby-Doo, but I don't want to keep seeing that either. Same thing, it kind of reminds you of It, a group of kids trying to figure out, stop the evil, right? Let's do something different. So I was hoping that they break up these stories and get into detail, because they could honestly do that. But it was just subpar. It wasn't really scary. It was okay. I know they wanted to make it child friendly, make it every I've noticed that's been like the recurring situation when it comes to a lot of these directors and choices being made to make things into movies, is they're trying to make it child friendly. They're trying to appease everybody, but you can't. You either stick to what you actually wrote and make it what it's supposed to be, or you don't. I guess they decided not and tried to appease everybody, and now we got left with this. So I know there's some that actually said that they enjoyed the movie, but they never read the books. And I've encountered that a lot. A lot of people who've never played the game or never read the books tend to like the movie because they don't know where it's from. They don't know the content. They don't know the artistic work that came from it. So of course they like it, right? So I'm so disappointed. But this one's going to be short. Once again, like, I just, I don't really have a time frame for each episode on the podcast. It's initially finding topics to talk about. And yesterday, I was initially just thinking about scary stories to tell in the dark when the second movie was coming out. And yes, I'm going to see it because it's me. If you guys don't know, I am a big horror fanatic. I love my horror movies, my horror games, my horror short stories. Like, I just love horror in general. I love the idea of the unknown. I love really good stories, good movies. I love that. And since horror was something that actually, as a young child, I was severely terrified of the dark. I didn't like the dark. Seeing Chucky for the first time really terrified me as a kid, to the point to where it was hard for me to sleep. So as I got older, I went towards my fear and got over it, and I embraced it. And then, of course, when I got introduced to video games, that was a whole nother playing field for me. And of course, I had to get over the anxiety and fear, and it came with adrenaline and fun and excitement. So I have a special love in my heart for horror, especially since it's also inspired me to do my own stories and my own, like, I've not just stories. I'm saying like this. I hope to eventually one day to get the stuff that I need so I can make my stories come to life via movie, via game, via whatever I need to do. Let me just say that. Horror has inspired me to do a lot of my own creations initially, and I'm super duper excited. But regardless of all of that, guys, tell me in the comments which story is your favorite of the scary stories to tell in the dark trilogy. Tell me which one's your favorite, and did you like the movie? But I hope you enjoyed this little short snippet of a video. It's going to be done on CapCut because unfortunately, once again, my computer is a little, I don't know what's wrong with it, guys. It makes me kind of sad. I hope it's not going kapooey. But regardless, we'll get it worked out. But I love you guys. I will see you guys soon. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.